Good morning, Grand Rising. Welcome to Opal Rose Oracle. My name's Amanda. If you're new to my channel, it is wonderful to have you here. If you're returning, thank you. Thank you for coming back. We have left the realm of the goddess meditations that we have been doing previously. And now we're moving to a more abstract concepts, more natural cyclical concepts. Our meditation for today is on the 4 seasons. I find it very pertinent since we have just left Leo season and Virgo season. We're in the time of harvest, and every gathering and beginning to sort for the winter time, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere. And so it's a joy to be here with all of you. Start off our meditation, start off our moon day on a quiet note, on a peaceful note. I feel a deep need for that grounded, reflective energy. So I'm very excited to be here with all of you today and to share this space where we set our intentions and go within. There's going to be a beginning passage, just like in previous meditations. And then we'll go straight into the meditation. I highly recommend having a paper so that you can write down your reflections and go over them as the week continues. I was wondering if there's anything I was forgetting, and as always, if you need some water or your tea, please have that with you. If you need pillows or a blanket to allow yourself the comfort and ease of meditation, please do that for yourself. And we'll begin. The 4 seasons. Before we begin, that's my favorite song. Antonio Vivaldi is my favorite composer. So whenever I see the 4 seasons, I can't help but think of him and his beautiful violin concertos. Yeah, little tidbit. But the 4 seasons. I invite you all to take a deep breath in. Exhaling when you're ready. Bringing yourself to this present moment. And as you breathe, allow nothing but the now to exist. Breathe into this present moment. Gaia, the personification of our planet Earth, is the literal mother of all goddesses and of all of us. Unlike the linear paradigm of the patriarchy. Gaia's rhythm is cyclical, as is ours. Each woman holds within her womb space the quiet potential of winter, the rebirth of spring, the harvest of summer, and the release of autumn. When we embody the wild wisdom of Gaia, we connect with our innate seasonal cycle and invite reverence for our rhythmic, sacred, feminine nature. And we will begin the meditation. Take a deep breath in and exhale, allowing yourself to fully relax. Follow your breath and prepare to journey back in time, back to the beginning. In the beginning, God made man in his image and likeness. We all know this. We've heard it countless times in our lives. But what of us women? The truth is, we have only heard half of the story. We haven't been told. What we haven't been told is that we too were created in the image of, in the likeness of. But in the image of what? Lush and life-giving, curvaceous and flowing. We are the indisputable daughters of Mother Gaia, the earth herself. And up until recent generations, there was never any doubt of this. Women knew that we were all sacred daughters of the Great Mother. And men knew this as well. And in the deep parts of our soul and our bones, we women know this to be true. We feel our connection to the tidal rhythms, to the ebb and flow that connects us to our sister moon. We see our lives as mirrored in seasons, the youthful promise and potential of maidenhood in spring, the power and creativity of motherhood in summer, the shedding of what no longer serves us during our maven years in the autumn, and the wisdom of the crone going inward during winter. Our grandmothers knew that our cycles were so much more than the binary bleeding or not bleeding. As we, 21st century women, have been led to believe. They saw not only the stages of their lives mirrored in the 4 seasons, but their monthly cycles as well. Gifted with the wild wisdom handed down by their mothers and their mothers' mothers, our foremothers knew that whether they were menstruating or not, the Great Mother had bestowed upon them an intrinsic, hormonal, and energetic blueprint, which was the very foundation of their empowered embodiment. Empowered with the wisdom of autumn, our grandmothers' held gratitude for the gift of their bleeding time. They knew without question that it was their birthright to focus on their own needs during this week, to refill the cup from which they had been giving to their families and communities during previous weeks. They mirrored the falling of the leaves by energetically releasing, which no longer served them. They practiced sacred self-care by slowing down, resting more, and indulging their desires. They knew that the veil to the other world was thinnest during this time. So they enjoyed their increased intuition by journaling and by going deep into their dream world. Their community honored this time by offering nurturing and extra space to their sisters. Empowered by the wisdom of winter, our foremothers held gratitude for the gift of the second week of their cycle. They knew that as with Mother Gaia, the energy was building quietly but certainly, and that their feminine power was on the verge of peaking. The wise women of our lineage used this week to plant seeds of intention, to build relationships, to focus on projects. Using this kinetic energy, the women connected with their internal and external beauty, ate delicious foods, enjoyed the movement of their bodies, and invested in the community around them. Their community honored this time by choosing their second week to suggest new ideas, to make time to connect, and to reconnect in their relationships. Empowered by the wisdom of spring, foremothers held gratitude for their ovulation time. They knew that, as with the Great Mother, this was their time to shine. They used this week to put themselves out into the world for all to benefit. This was the week when their ideas and projects had come to fruition, and they held the positive regard of all their community. Our ancestors honored this energy by being open to new things, enjoying flavorful, juicy foods, by expressing themselves energetically and creatively. Their community honored this time by connecting in gratitude for all the gifts that the cycling women had offered. Empowered by the wisdom of summer, our foremothers held gratitude for their fourth week, known as the fire walk. They knew that as with Gaia, the heat and intensity of summer could be dangerous if not respected. Our ancestors honored this week by recognizing and thanking the emotions that surfaced during this week, by acknowledging their fiery and passionate disposition. They chose to limit their energetic output, to stick with familiar routines, and to seek comfort in clothing, surroundings, and food. They listened to the wisdom of their bodies by moving less intensely, seeking movement for grounding and release. They selected foods that were clean and light so as to limit internal inflammation and heat. Their community honored our foremothers during this time by not approaching them with new ideas or lists or demands. They were given space and time to meet their own needs, while meeting the needs and the rhythms of their sisters. They practiced and modeled self-care throughout their cycles and throughout their lives. This wild wisdom, this gift to all daughters of Gaia, may not have been shared with us through our matriline, It may have been hidden and buried and denied for generations, but it is ours. Sisters, it is our birthright, coded into our very DNA. And it is ours to reclaim. With a final deep inhale and exhale, allow yourself to connect fully to your own deep wisdom, the wisdom of the sacred feminine. And know that you can access this powerful connection anytime. With gentle awareness of your body now, you begin to shift back to this present moment. Moving with ease, you are once again in the here and now. Welcome back. Take a deep breath in. Exhale when you're ready. And when you're ready, open your eyes. I keep hearing the song, the grandmother's song. If you're not familiar with it, there are many versions on YouTube that you can look up. And it's a beautiful song. It goes, I hear the song of my grandmother's calling me. Actually, let me look up the lyrics because I want to get it right. All right. Thank you for listening to me. The song goes like this. I hear the voice of my grandmother's calling me. I hear the voice of my grandmother's song. She said, stand in your power, women, stand in your power. She said, listen, listen to me. I hear the voice of my grandmother's song. She said, give birth, give life, mothers, give birth, give life. Listen, 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 listen. I hear the voice of my grandmother's calling me. I hear the voice of my grandmother's song. She teach that and listen, listen, listen. I hear the voice of my grandmother's calling me. I hear the voice of my grandmother's song. She says, wake up, child, wake up, listen, 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 listen. I hear the voice of my grandmother's calling me. I hear the voice of my grandmother's song. She says, stand in your power, women, stand in your power, listen, listen. listen, listen. I hear the voice of my grandmother's calling me. I hear the voice of my grandmother's song. She says, give birth, give life, mothers, give birth, give life. Listen, 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 listen. And so it goes through and continues, addressing the child, addressing the mother, addressing women, addressing the grandmother, and the wisdom of the cycles, of what it means to be a woman, to go through the cycles of maiden, mother, crone, not just in cyclical aging, but in the seasons, in our mothers. I'm going to read the questions for deeper reflection now. So if you have your journals, get those out. Grab your writing utensil. I will repeat each question twice. What cultural messages have you internalized about the seasonal shifts of your hormonal cycle? What cultural messages have you internalized about the seasonal shifts of your hormonal cycle? In what ways are you currently preventing yourself from experiencing the powerful gifts of your monthly rhythm? In what ways are you currently preventing yourself from experiencing the powerful gifts of your monthly rhythm? And what would it feel like to give yourself permission to know yourself as the sacred manifestation of Mother Nature? What would it feel like to give yourself permission to know yourself as the sacred manifestation of Mother Nature? And if I could add one that's not from the book, my deep